Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In this tutorial, I'm going to be covering two things. In the first half, I'll be showing you guys how to properly use the link function. And in the second half, I'll be showing you how to create a simple to medium complex branch choice. These are how-to questions that I get asked a lot, so let's just jump right into it. So first things first, what exactly does the link function do? Basically, it keeps your story seamlessly moving forward. So when a reader finishes chapter 1, they're immediately prompted to go into chapter 2 and so on and so forth. And just a quick side note, for linking chapter to chapter, make sure if you're working on chapter 1 that you already have chapter 2 drafted, because you won't be able to link to a chapter that does not exist, but you can link to drafted chapters. So just keep all that in mind before we move forward in the tutorial. And I'll quickly show you what I'm talking about. So as you can see, we're in my story. This is what your story interface should look like once you're in here. Let's say you're currently working on chapter 10. As you can see, I already have the next chapter, chapter 11, drafted. So if we go into chapter 10, and let's say I already have my whole storyline branch thing filled out, and this is the final scene in chapter 10. So what you want to do is hover over your mouse, select create link. Up in the left hand corner you should see this change. Click on that, and as you can see, chapter 11 is drafted. You would select on the next chapter, whatever you have it titled as, and then if you're ready to excuse me, and then if you're ready to release chapter 10, go ahead and hit publish. And once you are ready to work on chapter 11, and whenever you release chapter 11, whatever happened in chapter 10, the reader is going to immediately get picked up on in chapter 11. I really hope all that makes sense. So the next thing that you can use the link function for is outfit choices. So if you're someone who uses outfit choices and you want those choices to carry over into the following chapter, then you will need to use the link function in order to do that. Because if you have an outfit choice in chapter 10 and you don't link chapter 10 to chapter 11, then whatever outfit your reader picked in chapter 10, they probably won't be wearing it in chapter 11, and they'll probably be placed in the default outfit of your main character. But if you properly link chapter 10 to chapter 11, then they should still have on the outfit from chapter 11 that they chose. And that'll be the outfit that they stay in until you present another outfit choice later in the story. And the last thing that the link function is used for is connecting scenes. So for example, and I'm going to show this visually later in the video, timestamps for everything should be in the description. So for example, if you create a branch choice where choice A, the character goes to the park for a date, and choice B, the character goes to the mall for a date, but after both of those scenes come to an end, you want the reader to go back into the main storyline, you need to connect both choices to the same scene. I know that sounds confusing, but again, please skip to the timestamps, listen in the comments for a visual example. And with that explanation out of the way, let me go ahead and show you how this all works. So first thing that we're going to cover is linking chapter to chapter. Like I mentioned before, make sure you have chapters drafted ahead of time. So again, what I showed you previously, go to whatever chapter you're currently working on. Let me undo this. Okay, so go to whatever chapter you're working on. And if you're already finished, you're not adding any more scenes, click on the last scene that you have. Hover over it with your mouse. Select create link. And then up in the left hand corner, select the following chapter. Right now we're on chapter 10. You want chapter 10 to link to chapter 11. Click on that, publish your chapter, you're good to go. Okay, and the next example that I'm going to talk about, or that I'm going to show, is the choice branches. So when it comes to making sure your reader's outfit choices carry into the following chapter, it's literally the same as what I just did a few seconds ago, the same steps. All you have to do is make sure that at the end of your chapter, whichever is your very last scene, hover your mouse over it and select create link. And if you already have your next chapter drafted, then you should see the pop-up option to select it. Do that, publish your chapter, you're good to go. So when you finally publish the next chapter, which in my example would be chapter 11, whatever outfit choice my readers chose in chapter 10, they should still have on that outfit in chapter 11 because I linked everything together. Now, I already have another tutorial about how to create outfit choices. I'll link that somewhere in the description box, or you can just go on my page and look at it. So I'm not gonna cover how to create an outfit choice. I've already done that video. But basically, once you create your outfit choice, like I said a million times already, go into the chapter that you're currently working on. And once you have your final scene done, hover over it, hit create link, link the chapter to the following one, publish your current chapter, you're good to go. Your outfit choices should remain stable. Now, if you want to actually see the clothes choices in action, where the character is wearing the same outfit in chapter 2 from chapter 1, then shameless plug, you can play one of my chapter stories, either Party of 3 or Blissful Bites. Should look something like this in the chapters app, or this over here. So you can play one of my chapter stories to see an example, because I often change the characters' outfits and they do carry over from chapter to chapter instead of reverting to the character's default outfit. So for a specific example, you can check out the first chapter in my story, Blissful Bites. I changed the main character, who is called Jonas, into a black work outfit near the end of chapter 1. And at the beginning of chapter 2, he's still in that same outfit from chapter 1, which means the link properly worked and he didn't revert to the default outfit that I have set for that character. So all of this is done properly because I linked my chapters together. Okay, so the last thing that we're going to cover, the last way that you can use the link function is when creating a choice branch and then linking back to your main storyline. So what I'm going to do is we're going to, let me get out of here and go to my test book. Okay. So let me go ahead and create a default, or create a draft for that. Okay, well, I already have one created here. I'm just gonna get rid of all this. I'm not gonna edit this out. And we're just gonna start from scratch. Okay, so what we're gonna do here, we're gonna create a simple to medium choice branch. This isn't gonna be anything fancy, but a lot of people ask, 1, how do you create a branch? And then 2, how do you get everything back to the main storyline? So what I'm gonna do, I'm going to add a little bit of dialogue here, and then we're going to create a branch and go from there. So let's say this is chapter 2. I just realized I'm doing a whole high school thing and it's literally adult characters. Okay, this is awkward. All right, just go with it, you guys. Just go with it. All right, now that we have this semi-chaotic thing going on here, we're finally at our first choice. So I think I have a video about choices. I don't know. If I do, I'll also link that in the description. I'm not gonna go too crazy here into detail. So what we're gonna do, once we are ready to approach our choice, you're gonna go over here and you wanna select add branch. Okay, let me put the background back in here. So Sammy, our main character, James just asked her out on a date, and let's fill in some text here. All right, so now let's go back over here. we are finally at our choices branch. So we have two pathways that the story is about to go. We can say yes to the date and go on the date, or we can reject James and do something else. So what you first need to do is, at this point, fill out each choice branch. So there's two things that you can do from this point. You can either, where is it? You can either click here, add scene. I like to do it from here. It really doesn't matter. Just select add scene. And I do like to keep things organized. So I'm just gonna rename this. Date, and we'll name this free option. Let's make this, I don't really do premium choices, but if you guys want to do something like this, then here's another way to do it. Let's make that a premium choice. So if you want to, let me go back here. If you want to make one of these like a special premium choice, obviously it would be this one. So let's go ahead and do that and select how many diamonds. So that's going to be the special choice, quote unquote. All right, so let's go here. Let's work on creating the date choice. So we're going to accept James's I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. Invitation to go out. All right, so now we're going to do, I said this was going to be a simple to medium choice. I think we're going into the medium category. So now that we have accepted James's invitation to a date, whatever, we're now going to add a transitional scene. We're still underneath the date branch. Don't forget that. So we're going to hit add scene. And we're going to rename this diner scene. And now we're going to transition. Let's see, let's do cafe. Oh, this is kind of nice. Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do from this point, I'm just going to add some text here and skip. And then I'm going to go back and add some text here for this scene. And then we're going to wrap up this whole example. Okay, so I finished the premium date scene. You guys, when you're doing this with your own story, you can make this the choices however long you want to make it. You can also add choices inside of your choices branch. So for example, if you're in the premium choice and you want to introduce another choices branch in there, you can do that and just keep it going. I'm not going into all that right now, but anyways, I just finished the free option is what we're gonna call that. I thought I called it that, maybe I didn't. So I just finished the free option, and instead of going on the fancy premium date, James is just gonna walk her home. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish that scene, and then we're gonna wrap this whole thing up. Okay, so now we're at the point where we have finished our first choice branch, or whatever choice you're on, doesn't matter. So now the question I often get at this point is, do I have to continue my main storyline from both choices? If not, how do I do it? So instead of like continuing your main storyline, adding a new scene here, going at and then adding a new scene here and copying the exact same thing. You don't have to do that, you guys. Make it simple. So what you need to do, it doesn't matter from which scene you choose. I just like to do the one on the left. Doesn't really matter. What you're going to do is you're going to pick the last scene from one of your choice branches. I'm just going to go ahead and pick this one. It doesn't matter. And just to keep myself organized, I'm going to call this continue main storyline. From this point on, this scene here is going to be the continuation of your main storyline. Now, how you use the link function in this situation is, as you can see here, there's nothing going on here. So if your reader stops right here, it's going to be the end of the book. So what you need to do on your free option, your second choice branch, select the last scene, hover your mouse over it, select create link. You're going to click on your scene that continues the main storyline of your book. And as you can now see, both of your choice branches lead back into your main storyline. So going back here, your reader had the option to select a premium choice, which would take them down the path of going on the date with James. And then they had the option to reject James, which would allow James to walk you home instead. And then both of those choices tie right back into the main storyline. And you basically repeat this process for however many choices you decide to introduce in your book. So if you want to just continue and add more scenes to the main storyline and keep that going, you don't have any more choices to present to the reader, that's fine and good. But let's say you get down here and you want to add another choice branch in this scene here. Okay, you're just going to do the exact same thing that we did earlier. You're going to create your scene for each branch. And then you're going to create a final scene that continues your storyline. And then on the branch that doesn't have anything hanging out here, you're going to create a link. Go back to the main storyline. It's that simple, you guys. Let me delete all this. I don't want to confuse anybody. All right. So again, before we preview the game mode, again, one last time. How to link back into the main storyline. Create your choice. Write out your scene for each choice. Doesn't matter which one you pick. Pick the last scene in either one of your choices. Then you're going to add a new scene underneath that. So you don't confuse yourself, rename it to continue main storyline. And then under the one that doesn't have anything, click on the last scene in that branch. Select create link. You're going to click on the continue main storyline box. Now, as you can see, once the reader plays this out, let's say they couldn't afford the premium choice, they get stuck with the free option, it's going to go right back into your main storyline. So let me fill this out for the main storyline, and then I'm going to preview it in the game mode and show you how it all works for each choice. Okay, so this is actually another good example that we can do. So let's say after you present a premium choice and it's gonna come up in the main storyline like it is now, like her best friend is asking her, so how did things go with James? So depending on which choice your reader chose, you could actually introduce another branch here. So let me show you guys. You could actually introduce another branch. So if you went on the date, you could like And if you didn't go on the date, then readers could pick this choice. And again, you don't have to do all this. I'm just showing you as an example. All right, so we have the main storyline going, and then we got another dialogue branch. So let me just do this really quickly. All right, so another quick example while we're here. After our first choice, we continued on the main storyline here, and then we presented the reader with another dialogue choice. This is all part of the main storyline. So just because I like the visual of it all, I'm just going to add a scene here, which is going to, again, continue the main storyline. So continue main storyline 2. You can't title things with the same name, so keep that in mind. And then we're just going to link each choice back to the main storyline. Remember to do that for every branch that you create. And now we're back in the main storyline. So we're still in the cafeteria talking to our best friend. All right, so what I did here was basically just wrap up this chapter, I guess you can say. So this is my last scene in this chapter, and like we mentioned before, to link this chapter to the next one, since we're on our very last scene, you're gonna hit create link. You're gonna go up here. I think we're on 2, so we're gonna link this to the following chapter. And now let's see our progress. I didn't add any extra stuff or sound effects or anything like that. You guys can go crazy on your own. All right, so chapter 2. And we're approaching our first choice. I don't know why James's character changed. His appearance changed. Oh, there must have been something I did for another tutorial. Don't mind that. It usually doesn't happen. This is just a test book, so things are all jacked up. All right, so now we're getting to our first choice. If you've been following along, your preview should look just like mine. So we're gonna do both choices so that I can show you properly how the link function works. So for right now, we're gonna go with the premium choice. We're accepting James's date, and now we're going to be taken to the date. Okay, remember we're still, let me show you. This is the date pathway, so we're now doing that. And if, like my screen here, you have blank spaces in here, you can either delete it or leave it in. It doesn't matter, it's not going to show. So as you can see here, we're approaching the next scene, which is continuing the main storyline, which is right here. Okay, so everything is working how it should. And now we're back in the main storyline at school the next day. And there's our best friend asking how things went with James. So if you have a situation like this where you're going to discuss to another character what happened in your previous choice, then you can do something like what I just did and create another choice and respond appropriately. So if I'm the reader and I went on the date with James, I would probably pick tell Xena about the date. And if I'm the reader and I didn't get to go on the date, I would pick the free option, or I can pick change the subject. Really doesn't matter. But because we picked the premium option earlier, we're just going to go ahead and tell Xena about the date. And as you can see here, it took us down right here. So now we're telling Xena about the date. It's a very short scene. I didn't do anything crazy. And now we're going right back into the main storyline. As you can see, it's highlighted. So now we just heard a loud bang. Then we're going to go check it out. And then I ended the chapter here. Stay tuned for the next chapter. So if I'm the reader and I'm in the app and I reach this point, I'm going to get a pop-up to go right into chapter 3, because as you can see, I linked it properly. Now, what we're going to do, I'm going to restart this and we're going to go down the free option, and I'm going to show you that since we properly linked it to the main storyline box, it's going to flow smoothly and everything's going to go how it should. So let's do that again. I have no idea how long this video is, but I hope you guys are learning something new, and please give me a thumbs up and share with your friends. Okay, well, I don't know what happened to my premium choice, but we're just gonna go with the second option. I probably need to refresh. It doesn't matter. Okay, now as you can see over here, we're now on the second pathway for the free choice. And James is gonna walk us home instead of taking us out on the date. And again, you can make your choices, the pathways, however long you want. Doesn't matter. What matters is that you always link back into the main storyline. So this pathway is now over and it's about to go back into the main storyline. Now, if I hadn't linked this to the main storyline box, this would literally be the end of the chapter, and everything that's what's about to happen down here, the reader would not be able to see it. So again, make sure you get your link function right. So now we're back in the main storyline. And our best friend is asking us what happened with the talk with James. And since we picked the free option, we're gonna say he walked us home. Now we're back in the main storyline and we're getting to the end of the chapter. And yeah, that's literally it. So I hope you guys learned something new. I hope this cleared things up regarding how to use the link function and how to connect your choices back into the main storyline instead of doing things the hard way and like creating the pathway for your main storyline for each choice path. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. All you have to do once you finish with your choice pathways, just select add scene underneath either one. It does not need to be both, just needs to be one. Add a scene, and then from here, from the last scene, create a link, click on the scene that continues your main storyline. You're good to go. If you guys need any help with anything, I'll try my best to answer. I don't really write much in chapters these days anymore, so I might not know it off the top of my head, but you can always join the chapters Discord. I believe they still have some active mods in there that answers questions from time to time, and they also have additional tutorials that you can go back to and read. But other than that, if you guys have any other suggestions or tutorials that you'd like me to cover for chapters, go ahead and drop them in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.